Elon Musk is not a scientist. He is a billionaire con man with a lot of money.
Many DOGE employees, those 19-year-olds, are Shkreli stream watchers. I know this for a fact. So Max, I was thinking about this yesterday. I was reading this old Paul Tudor Jones thing. It wasn't that old, actually. It was from, I don't have the exact date, but it was within the last decade. And maybe 2010? Maybe 2012? I don't remember. But Paul Tudor Jones was discussing Bitcoin. He said to a reporter that if you were even close, even a really poor market technician, you saw the Bitcoin had a blow off top at like 20K. And he used the term blow off top and market technician, which surprised me. And I think a lot of the guys from the 80s, they just can't turn off their pattern recognition that started in the 80s. It's 2025. The world's very different. Some may say it's not. Some may say that, some things never change. Yeah, we have a bunch of stuff coming. We're gonna dig into some great biotech shorts after taking a bit of a break from cassava and galectin. We're gonna find some nice zeros and short the living what out of them. People want to see longs, so I'm gonna find some longs. But like the shorts are like Anavex, IMNB, etc. As you guys know, we like to short to the point of exhaustion where like there's no possible way we're wrong, because I like to sleep at night. And even then, I don't really sleep at night. But just like cassava, like we need to know everything. I want to know what the CEO eats for breakfast. I want to eat it too. It's just something that it's called Immune Bio, INNB. It's this weird. It's a small market cap. It's a pretty small market cap. Maybe we avoid that one. VKTX is doing a buyback? I don't believe that. Yeah, because I was going to try epilepsy. HUMA finally launched their product. I think it's gonna be rough. Be rough sledding. Yeah, I don't know. Arcus don't they have like a mountain of cash, and pretty hard for them to fail at this point, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty hard for the stock to go down too much, right? ionq is still hard to borrow. I don't know what Bitcoin's going to do. HUMA's probably a short on the launch. I mean, you basically have 90 days or maybe 120 days before they have to report their first quarter. It's probably going to be really terrible. What did you get done this week? I don't know if it's a good management technique, but you definitely tell the lowest end of like who's not doing any work or who's like passive aggressive. If somebody's not responding to your direct messages in a company, you just fire them. Goodbye. They're not in a work mindset. A lot of people these days aren't in work mindset. We got a couple of huge things dropping. I don't know if you saw last night's drops, but the F10 key works now for indices. So next step is going to add thousands of indices. I think we have to make an entitlement system because a lot of the index providers and stuff like that, they want you to report how many people are using the indices, and they want you to pay X dollars per user. So we might make a thing where you have to opt in for extra charge, or we opt in for you and everybody eats the extra price increase. I think people would want the option of saying, I don't need real-time index prices. Thank you anyway. But I also think that's how Bloomberg handles it. But I also think some people might like the idea that it's like, no, that's in the price. So I don't know which you guys think is better. Ability to turn it on and then your bill is higher, or it just comes in. I think the brokers eat them, but I also think the brokers are in a different position because there's a difference between indices and futures, obviously. They're not that different, Alex. I mean, everyone wants US real-time, so we just assume you want US real-time. Bloomberg doesn't assume that, by the way. Bloomberg makes no assumptions about what the data you want. I mean, I think most of those data fees are passed through, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think they're making a profit. It's just that if the exchange says for every single person that uses this, you got to pay us $5. Either I eat $5 a margin. If I do that 12 times, there's no margin. Or you pay it. Now, the problem is you might pay it on Bloomberg, Godel, and Interactive. Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing we're going to do really well, though, is we're going to make it one click to like literally a checkbox where like turn off real time, save $5, or turn on real time. It costs $5. Just one click. I mean, it's $5 for certain indices, so you have to decide whether that price makes sense. Our base price is $60, and that's going to go up quite a lot. You might end up paying more in data fees than you do paying in base fee right now. I think it's 15 minutes, but it says, let's take a look. So you go to terminal by pressing backtick, right? So far so good. SPX, and now to do index, you press F10. I think we have to prevent default there. SPX, I just have to refresh because if you don't use the new version, if you don't refresh, and there's a version update, you have to refresh. So SPX, F10, SPX, F10, and I don't know, let's do focus. And now you can see, brand new feature here. Oh man. It says D here for delayed. And if you hover over, it says delayed 15 minutes. US equities won't be delayed, but if you want Hungarian equities, you're going to have to pay for Hungarian equity feed. I don't know when we'll launch. Honestly, like at our current pace of growth, I'd rather not launch. Because like, honestly, in the SaaS world and even social media, I don't think you want the straight line up if you can help it. Most guys kind of have to launch, hard launch, because they like, as they're working on the product, their user growth is this, and they hard launch and this happens, right? And then this happens. And then you have two options. You grow like this, or you grow like this. This is like the SaaS story for almost every single SaaS startup in the world. You don't want that if you can help it. There's a lot of great history behind this and some fantastic companies and how they did this. But so for Godel, we're really lucky because we have literally, I have the chart. Some investors have seen the chart, but there's a couple of bumps like this, but it's largely like a 45-degree angle up. And so as long as we grow every month, I don't think we need to do a hard launch. So if we just grow every month and do a crazy hard launch, there's a bunch of problems with that. One, we can't control the narrative. C's like, I don't know, we have the wrong description for Apple, or they all you have to do is coerce the system to doing something it doesn't want. And then you take a screenshot of that and say like, obviously this software isn't ready for release. It's like, on the flip side, there are people who really try hard to get the launch immaculately right, but the software is never quite going to be done. There's always going to be people that have issues with it. So you just have to ship, but your feature set, if your feature set is here, let's say this is a blue box. Okay, this is the blue box. And this over here is say you got 0% of your features ready. And this is some n%. And over here is 100%. Well, you could always theoretically say, well, we'll just wait for the purple box. The purple box is a week away or a month away. And with the purple box, we might go from here to here, a little bit higher. With the purple box, that dotted line completes, but with the blue box, you just get the solid line. And I think you always go with the blue box. There's a temptation to wait for the purple box. I think we hit on something pretty good. A lot of startup. Oh man, look at 𝗍𝗓. Wow. Yeah, it's being pretty heavily shorted. My guess is there'll be a short report that comes out because all these shenanigans will a short report and nobody's showed me anything or spoken to me about this. But when you have a quarter like that, it's just too much shenanigans to not have somebody write a short report. Yeah, Rigetti only trading 23 million shares is very unique and interesting. The volume for Rigetti is just dying out. And this should be a big volume day given the news and their brother. Interactive doesn't sell an API. We have a vendor for news. We have multiple vendors for news. Godel is only user-friendly if you've used a Bloomberg. Otherwise, there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. The good news is the same learning curve you learn here, you're going to learn on Bloomberg. Yeah, and we're going to make it even faster. I have some updates. We're calling it Terminal 2 or Terminal V2. Hopefully, it's going to feel like you're in Linux. Yeah, 𝗙𝗏𝗡. I know what you mean. There isn't a clear entitlement. It doesn't feel like you really understand what you're getting with interactive, especially since you have to go outside of the app. You're in TWS and you want to see what you're paying for. You have to go to a website. Front end stack, press F12. React. We do a little vanilla JS. It's Next, React Router. Backend's pretty hodgepodge. It's a lot of different things, but mostly it's a Spring Boot Java. We use an interesting database called ClickHouse. I think it's Next Router. I forget. Yeah, we'd like to do WASM. There's no Rust in our code whatsoever. There's a little bit of C. I think eventually we'll probably migrate a bit. There's some Python in there, which I'd like to kick out. We're using Confluent stuff, Kafka, really aggressively. I like Kafka quite a bit. A lot of Kubernetes, yeah. Our CTO is early Kubernetes guy. I don't know. Polymarket shouldn't be doing every possible thing that you bet on. I don't know if that makes too much sense. I don't know what happened to the girl's meme coin, but I am going to buy more. I like her a lot. Historical price action graphed or tabled? So HP is table prices or historical prices. Graphs is G, and there's GIP as well. You can also move the components with the arrow keys, and Alt and Shift do things too. There are some cool open source trading projects. I have to hit up my boy.
Elon Musk is not a scientist. He is not an engineer. He is a billionaire con man with a lot of money.
Many DOGE employees, those 19-year-olds, are Shkreli stream watchers. I know this for a fact. That person's just a kid. I was a kid once. They all paid attention to me. Now they don't pay attention to me. Does anybody remember Brittany, what's her face? Venti? Peak culture, I agree. She was just trolling for anybody that's curious there. So in the ATM, the CEO, CFO, and a board member are going to sell 4 million shares. Man, before the quantum day? Well, Amazon's been cutting a lot of costs, so the PE, not really something I would focus on for Amazon. I mean, I think the stocks like Rigetti are going to drop to 2, and I'm just trying to best monetization.
Order partially filled.
The top 1,000 companies in the world ranked by market cap. Get it from my GitHub. It's on there in the screens folder. If you haven't seen my GitHub, it's got lots of free resources. GitHub.com/Martin Shkreli/models. You don't have to be a programmer to work GitHub. So your ETF's down 20% this week. What do you have to say to your ETF holders? You tell me 𝗍𝗢𝗘's the next NVIDIA, but their CEO just quit. Did Jensen Huang ever quit? Huh? I don't like people playing with my portfolio. You try to make that 80 basis points. What is it, 50 basis points? Trying to make that 50 basis points. Yeah, if Rigetti is off the top 25 volume list, that's kind of sad day for Rigetti, man. People are giving up. Oh man, when Rigetti reports earnings next week, they don't have any revenue. They don't try to fake it and defraud their shareholders, which, they honestly should be commended for that. If I became the CEO of ionq, I'd basically just issue as much stock as I could every day, mercilessly, and just become a financial company. I'd trade the balance sheet and be like, okay, I might look, if Cassava starts to go bankrupt or ionq or Rigetti, I'll buy their shell companies to keep them public forever, like trophies. The Bitcoin treasury now. Yeah, Rigetti's earnings will be measured in thousands of dollars, or revenue will be measured in thousands of dollars. They're going to be like $6,312 of revenue this quarter. An excellent result. No, Bitcoin and quantum really have nothing to do with each other, to be honest. The two are related. I know a lot about both. I don't know. Nebius doesn't seem so great. I'm going to start looking at farm stocks again. I want to do some market making stuff. I want to use the interactive API a little bit. A lot to do. I also want to figure out if I'm going out tonight or not. Okay, I've categorized the top 400 companies in the world. That goes up to a 50 billion market cap, roughly. So one time I was, playing basketball. I had a similar haircut, maybe even shaggier. I was playing basketball in the hood. As one kid goes, "Hey, yo, Potter, pass the rock." The whole game stops. Everybody's black except me. And just these people are going crazy laughing. The guy falls over, rolling on the floor. Another guy's like this. I'm glad you guys have jokes. I'm glad you guys have jokes.
Yeah, I agree that, there are going to be APIs for sort of smaller traders, but
partially filled.
You got to think about it from our side. How do we make money? If you're a trader with $25,000 or $50,000 or $100,000 and you want a API from us, it doesn't make a lot of business sense for us to sell you an API, because how much money can you actually pay us? And the exchanges aren't exactly friendly when it comes to these prices. They want us to know. They want us to report how many clients we have. So I think there's a way to do it, but it's not as great of a business as it sounds. But it's on our roadmap. I think the thing we want the most for now is just making the best terminal possible with every country, every bond, every equity, et cetera. And we have a ways to go there. So, this month will be a very big deal for us in that regard. But, once that's done, I think we can start thinking about API. I mean, we want to do it. It's just when makes sense. And, it's a whole separate business. I mean, it really is a different business. Yeah, Renaissance has done like 60 to 80% a year. They obviously are sort of size limited. So the size of that fund is very limited. It's a relatively small team. And I think they just have very good data and a very good system and very good people. There are some drawbacks to Renaissance. A lot of it is domestic money. So you have high taxes. It's almost all short-term profits. So there's high taxes on that too. So, there's not all peaches and cream, but, it's obviously one of the most successful firms. I like Alibaba a lot, but it's one of these things that's hard to recommend publicly because when I recommend stuff, people pile in. And Alibaba is one of these companies where you got to be okay with a double in 3 years or 4 years. I don't know when China relationships are going to normalize, if ever. So, okay. So, if that's the case, you got to be patient. Most of y'all ain't patient. I don't think you should stop trading, but I think you should level up some statistical and programming capabilities. Not too hard. People think it's some kind of voodoo rocket science. Stock jocks talking to management teams, calling up other traders, looking at the earnings, looking at the product, all that stuff. Quant's just writing a computer program, all kinds of different strategies, short-term, long-term. Quants are more like the, stockfish itself. Yeah. The stock jocks are Magnus. Yeah, it's not easy to be a quant. You got to be brilliant. If you love the market, you'll figure it out. It's not easy to get a job as a quant. I agree with that. D. Shaw looks at 500 people to hire one person. Basic understanding of linear regression, great place to start, buddy. That is a great place to start. All the papers are out there. You can read them all. And as I'm sort of saying this, as we're talking about this, I'm not saying you're going to be Susquehanna or D. Shaw, okay? What I'm saying is that even if you're just thinking about it, that's a good start. You are getting, then next step is go read a paper, go read an academic finance paper, go to Google Scholar. You know what? Do you want me to do it right now? Scholar.google.com. Okay. What do we want to learn about here? Let's do pair trading or pairs trading. Pairs trading. Okay. This is a paper from 2005. Okay. I want you to read this paper. All right. That's it. That's your homework. You take baby steps. You might not like it. You might love it. Doesn't matter. You're leveling up a little bit. You understand 5% of it better than understanding 0% of it. Quants are just getting started erasing market efficiencies. You do fast Fourier, you're in good shape. Yeah, you can put it into Grok, but I would put each paragraph and I would ask specifically what the stuff that you're confused about. Don't put the whole thing into Grok and ask for a summary. That's called abstract. You can read that yourself. Look at the terms you don't know and say, Grok, what does this mean? What does the word stochastic mean? What is a partial derivative anyway? Those are the kinds of questions. What is co-integration? If you just toss it in there, you're not putting any effort in it. You don't put any effort in it, you're worthless. I just want to put it into Grok. Yes, but put into Grok every sentence you don't understand. There's so much to know about math, statistics, and finance. It's an enormous, enormous thing. And I drop some nuggets here and there, but I'm not gonna. If I could do a different channel. But there are people that want to be quants. There's a lot more people that want to be quants these days. So maybe I'll break out the Python and we could do some stuff. I think I've made this somewhat clear. I'm an entrepreneur. That's my trading. To me, is not really something I want to do. I'm making, I have a market software company. To sell the software to traders, I got to show people a little bit. But I'm not, I make my money by building big companies and selling them to even bigger companies or the public. That's my MO.
I know this field really well, but the stress that comes with being a trader, the frustration, the amount of work you have to do, all those things are pretty huge. And I prefer to be an entrepreneur. So when I'm trading out here, it's really not for my own profit as much as it is just to show the software. This is what I'm working on. I hope you guys want to use it. But
𝗕𝗏𝗡𝗍𝗓𝗓.
if I could do that without trading at all, I wouldn't. Because trading is just very hard. I mean, it's a mental game. Some people are good at it. You know, some people are really good at it. To me, the amount of mental stamina you have to have, it's not just one time, it's every day. You know, you are really kind of with it. Building a company is a different kind of stress, and it's not as stressful as trading. And also, you know, sometimes you're good at one thing, not good at another. I'm objectively better at building companies than I am at trading, like objectively. AI is going to make the market somewhat more efficient. I do think being an entrepreneur is an extremely high leverage way of making money, but, you know, it's also not for everyone. I mean, the emotions, there's a lot of emotional stress in being an entrepreneur, truth be told. So it ain't. But, you know, when it comes to being an entrepreneur and being a trader, I've seen a lot of ups and downs. So I kind of know, and the downs of being an entrepreneur are a lot, especially if you've done them before, they're a lot more sustainable than the downs of being a trader. Downs of being a trader, losing money sucks, right? And it's really, really painful. The downside of being an entrepreneur, you can always sort of, to me at least, this just applies to me, it may not apply to you guys. You can always sort of just strategize your way out of it, fix it. And sometimes you can't fix it, that's okay too. You know, you can just sort of say, okay, well, we did this wrong, let's try this. You know, let's just not lose more money doing this if it's not going well, and try something different. You can rationally talk your way out of it. The markets, it's like, hey, you shorted quantum computing stocks, but you were 4 weeks too early. Sorry. And you're like, really? That's it? Yep. Some morons wanted to buy it just a little bit longer than you wanted to, than you thought they would. An entrepreneur builds a business that has business value. A trader is building a portfolio where each different year, their profits are one time. A business is something that has recurring cash flows that you can sell. You can sell the company because it has 20 million in revenue. But if you can sell for 200 million. But if you make 20 million as a trader this year, there's no guarantee that you can do it again next year. But a business keeps going. Now you need to maintain it, of course, but a business just keeps spitting out cash, theoretically, at least. Good ones do. I mean, I think we know that there's a lot of interest from the retail world in D-Wave. I think they're a very promotional company, whereas like ionq and Rigetti have kind of kept quiet. ionq's stock price is too high, so I think a lot of those people don't think it would moon as easily. And then Rigetti is, like I said, not very promotional. So you end up in a position where like the CEO of D-Wave is trying to pump D-Wave. So like, he goes on CNBC and he literally pumps. I think that's kind of the answer there.